Tonight on Dispatch, your layout photos, the question of the week, and a big shout out. Coming right up. Good evening. You are watching Dispatch, the weekly variety show for model railroaders. I'm Roy Smith, your dispatcher. I'm glad you could join me tonight. As I said, we have your layout photos, the question of the week, and a big shout out on tonight's show. First up, your layout photos. A bunch of you posted photos of your layouts in our Facebook group this week. I have brought your photos over here to Dispatch to share with everyone during tonight's show, and here they are. I want you to go over to the Facebook group and post a photo of your layout there after tonight's show. I will put a link down below that will take you to the group. You will know you're at the right place when you see this photo at Echo Canyon on my layout. Next up on tonight's show, the question of the week. And here's this week's question. What is the one thing on your layout that you would most like someone else to do for you, even if you have to pay to get it done? And here are the things you all mentioned in response to this question. Layout planning. This includes planning a new layout as well as planning an expansion to an existing layout. Bench work. This includes constructing not only the supporting bench work for a layout, but also helices and backdrops. Track work. This includes not only laying the track, but also putting down road bed, custom building turnouts, and installing under the layout switch machines. And track work includes fixing existing track problems on a layout as well. Wiring. This is the task that a vast majority of you identified as being the one that you would most like someone else to do for you. It includes wiring the layout, doing all electrical work, and soldering. Who among us wants to crawl under a layout to do these kinds of things? Ballasting. No surprise here, many people say doing ballasting is boring. DCC conversion. This includes converting a layout from DC to DCC as well as installing and programming decoders in locomotives. Structures. This includes building and painting structures for your layout, perhaps including building interiors and lighting and weathering the structures. Scenery. Some of you have trouble ever getting around to this task and would appreciate some help. Weathering. This includes weathering locomotives and rolling stock, a task which intimidates many of us because we fear that we may mess up our expensive trains. Setting up JMRI. This is a task that baffles many of us in the hobby. Coupler replacement. Couplers can be difficult to see, especially in N scale, and therefore challenging to replace. Signaling systems, something that baffles many of us. Speed matching. This is an odious and troublesome task. I was among those of you who listed this task as the one in which you would most appreciate some help. And finally, some of you said that you don't want any help in building your layout. You want to do everything yourself. Here's what a couple of you said in response to the question, what would you rather have someone else do? Trainman Bob mentioned small tasks because they are getting more difficult to do. Ha! Guess what, Bob? Big tasks are also getting more difficult to do, and as I've gotten older, I should know. Rich S. of RWS Baden said, I think I finally put my finger on what I'd rather have someone else do. Wash the windows in my hobby room. And Jason of the Train Freak channel said, I would say scenery, but that would require someone to come over and it wouldn't get done because we would be too busy running trains. Model railroaders are such comedians, but they are also my best friends in the whole world. Well, your responses to the question pretty much boils down to this. You are getting older and doing certain things like bench work or doing anything under the layout is becoming more difficult to do. Or you just don't like doing certain things like wiring and ballasting. So we could use some help in doing these kinds of things. Back in March 2018, I uploaded a video relevant to this week's question. The video was called Things We Hate to Do in Our Layouts. I will put a link to this video down below. I hope you will go over and watch it after dispatch tonight. Now then, if you're thinking about becoming a professional in the field of model railroading, check out that chart again. People might be willing to pay you to do some of those things for them. And people certainly would appreciate any free advice from you when they are challenged by things on the chart. Anyhow, thanks for your responses to this week's question. Remember, when you respond to a question of the week, you are sharing the hobby with others. And sharing the hobby may just be the best part of model railroading. That is the real purpose of these questions. Now, we do have a question for the coming week, and here it is. What is the one thing you would most like manufacturers to do to improve model trains? Choose that one thing and tell us what it is in the comments section down below. Then I will discuss your responses to this question in dispatch next week. Again, the question for the coming week is, what is the one thing you would most like manufacturers to do to improve model trains? And now it's time for tonight's big shout out. Up until now, every shout out on dispatch has gone to privately owned home layouts. Tonight, I'm going to try something different. I'm going to do a shout out to a model railroad museum. Can you guess which museum? Well, you don't have to guess because I'm going to tell you. Tonight's big shout out goes to the Colorado Model Railroad Museum in Greeley, Colorado. Construction on the museum began in 2002, and in 2009, the museum opened its 10,000 square foot facility to the public. There are extensive collections and exhibits in the museum, but perhaps for us here on dispatch, it's the museum's 5,500 square foot HO scale layout with its breathtaking vistas that holds the greatest interest. Let's go over and take a look at the layout in one of the museum's videos. I urge you to take a look at some of the videos on the museum's channel. If you like what you see, go ahead and subscribe. I will put a link to the museum's channel down below. I will also put links to the museum's webpage and Facebook page down below. And if you have ever visited the museum, I hope you will tell us about your experience in the comments section. Now, I'm continuing to renovate the Evanston area of my layout. My latest video in the Evanston renovation series is called Creating Terrain in the Railroad Complex. I show you the scenery work that I'm doing at the railroad complex and how I'm doing it because, who knows, you may want to use the same techniques on your layout. I will put links to this video and to the Evanston renovation playlist down below. Go ahead and click on these links after dispatch ends tonight. And be sure to join me for my next layout video, hopefully coming this Saturday, when I plan to show you how I'm planting vegetation in the railroad complex. In the meantime, there are tons of other videos for you to watch right here on this channel. I will put a link to my videos page down below, or you can go directly to these two videos over here by clicking on them. Well, thank you for letting me share the world's greatest hobby with you here on Dispatch tonight. I'm Roy Smith. Until next time, happy railroading.